this session is more about how darkness and how we manage that light at the end of our day as well. If melatonin is all about darkness, growth hormone is all about conditions. So if the repair crew overnight don't clock in, you're running degraded. And most people are doing this like every single night. Every stress response you have causes a cortisol spike and an adrenaline hit. And then that leaves its own mark on you. So this is why people call cortisol a stress hormone, is because every time it spikes, it leaves like this indent on your system throughout the day. Number 3, what is number 1 enemy of your night shift manager? Light after dark. Excellent. Well done, Max. Mark, no pressure. You got to get this one right. Why does eating before bed? I
almost opened my mouth up on number 3 and I definitely got it wrong. So that's going to...
Well, you got another go. So as you can probably guess, this session is all about recovery, but not in the way that most people think about it. So it's not just about getting more sleep and how to sleep like a baby. I mean, that obviously will help, but it's more about scheduling the right conditions so your body can actually start the repair process. And hopefully you'll understand in the most simple way possible off the back of today, sort of how you can create the right conditions so your body repairs and the right things happen at the right time. That's essentially what youthful recovery is all about. And this session is more about how darkness and how we manage that light at the end of our day as well, how that can drive repair. First off, we're just going to understand what recovery is, how it's scheduled, why it's scheduled, and the fact that it's to make it automatic in what we do. We're going to meet the 2 staff members that manage your night shift. We're going to bust some myths around what are around these 2 hormones, which we'll talk about in a second. And then we're going to learn timing rules, and hopefully we'll leave with at least 1 to 3 actions. And that's the important thing. But before we start, what I wanted to do was have a quick round robin of 1 word or sentence on how your sleep has been since you started the program, and any learnings that you've been through already with regards to your sleep. Anyone wants to share about how their sleep has been?
So I'd say what I've noticed is even if my sleep is shorter than ideal, I'm getting a load more deep and REM sleep, so it's more predictable.
Nice. And that actually, interestingly, is what drives the repair, is the amount of restorative sleep you have. Like, you could have 8 hours sleep and only an hour and a half of restorative sleep, and you wake up feeling like shit. But if you could have 6 hours sleep, but 4 hours worth of restorative sleep, and you wake up feeling amazing. Anything else?
On that, Grant?
So it is actually all in what's healthy and optimal in your tracker, but I think our age groups are all pretty much the same age group. You want to be aiming for at least 3. So I think healthy is like 3 and above. Optimal is like near 4. So like 3.75, I think, off the top of my head, for someone in our age group.
I think what you said about you can have 8 hours sleep and feel rubbish when you wake up. I went to sleep at 11 o'clock on Friday night, woke up at 4:45, and I felt more awake after having almost the same restorative sleep as I had the night before, and I was down by 10 and up by 5, I think it was. I was tossing and turning. I toss and turn loads when I try to sleep more and go to bed earlier, when I'm not that tired. But when I'm knackered after a mental day and I go to bed at 9:30, I sleep like through till 5. But I found if I'm just giving myself 6 hours to lay in my bed, I'm getting between 3.5 and 4 hours of restorative sleep.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. And if you can get that restorative sleep, there's an importance to light sleep and the recovery that light sleep gives you, but the actual repair process is in the restorative sleep. So it's a really good insight there. What about you, Dan?
I mean, mine's been consistently getting better. Like, it's been really game changing for me. That was the one thing I wanted to achieve through this process, and I'm well on the way. One thing I noticed, what I did, I pretty much burnt myself out last week because I've been doing a weight cut and doing all this other stuff, and I've upped my training and everything. Although I was getting good sleep, like really, really good sleep. And I think some of that is the fact that I was tired when I was going to bed. You know, I was really like doing all my training and stuff. But statistically, my sleep's getting better and better and better. But I wasn't really feeling it in the mornings when I was waking up. And having slept and had some calories, I woke up Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and I just felt absolutely phenomenal. I was like, wow. I was like, this is what I've been missing. So I think once my weight cut's only got 2 weeks left to go.
The main part about alcohol is, and I don't know if you guys have heard this anywhere else, but when you put alcohol into your body treats it like it's a poison. Basically, the poison goes into your body. It's like all systems focus on getting rid of it. So essentially, the focus goes away from repair. The focus goes away from digesting your other food properly. The focus goes away from all the other things that your body should be doing, and it just goes on getting rid of the alcohol until it's gone. A really good point to point out is you talked about refeeding and cutting. I've been through that recently, which is you're trying to shed the fat, but then when you up the training, your body needs more fuel inside of it, so your calorie need gets higher. And if you don't balance that calorie need, that fuel need that your body needs when you do more strength training, you do more running, you do more steps, your recovery just tanks. Is anyone else on a cut at all? You're on a cut.
I have been, yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been feeling quite wired. And my sleep's been actually all over the place since I joined this. My REMs and recovery sleep's been good. But what I've had in the last 2 nights, so Saturday night, we got back late from the airport, thought not ready to go to bed yet, did a stretch, and then did breathing where I focused on trying to reduce my resting heart rate. And
Nice.
I was in bed. I went to sleep at like 12:30. I got 95% recovery the next day. Then yesterday, I went to sleep early and got 98%. And it was just, I would say, getting that resting heart rate down before I went to sleep.
Lower you can get your resting heart rate before you actually go to sleep. The quicker you go to sleep and the quicker you get into your recovery or your regenerative sleep.
Yeah.
Let's just have a reminder of where we are in the pyramid. So we've already done sustained energy. That was the office team. So we did cortisol and insulin, which were the hormones that we looked at. That was the metabolic layer. So now we're moving up to Y in the system, which is youthful recovery. And this is the field team and the circadian rhythm. And this is where most people are completely unmanaged. So everything below today's session is in place if you've implemented the stuff from the previous session. So now we're just going to layer the recovery on top of it. And the KPIs that we're tracking here, so that you know what we're tracking, we've already discussed them a little bit, is your sleep score and your restorative sleep hours. So these are the 2 things that if you can move these 2 forwards, these are the 2 that are going to basically be the best recovery that you possibly can. The higher your sleep score is and the higher your restorative sleep hours are, the better recovery you're going to get. Your body is a business. So we're in the field team, the circadian layer. So think of your best businesses. Most of the infrastructure work doesn't happen when the team is at their desks. It happens overnight, especially in an office scenario. Servers update, computers cool down, systems back up, maintenance run. And if you cancel that like overnight work, that sort of system reset work, the whole operation starts degrading. And your body is exactly the same. And that's what you need to start preparing for. We'll talk about that in a second. Preparing for it 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. So if the repair crew overnight don't clock in, you're running degraded. And most people are doing this like every single night. We've got melatonin and growth hormone. Melatonin and growth hormone are the 2 hormones that we're focusing on here. And in the business, they're called the night shift manager and maintenance repairs. The night shift manager essentially sets everything up for the night. It's like the architect for the night. It tells everyone where they got to be and what they got to do. The maintenance and repair crew, once they've got their instruction from the night shift manager, are the people that go out and do the job that it needs to do so that you repair yourself overnight. What do you think are the key things that are going to stop us from having a great night's sleep?
Checking your phone.
No screens in the 4 hours before you go to bed, because it basically means by the time I leave work and then get home, eat, then looking after the kids, it basically means no screen from the time I get home to evening. So in the morning it's go, 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 the days go, 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 and there's no screen time to unwind, watch TV, be on social media. Not I'm doing those things at the moment, but I have historically. So just no screens in the last, basically means no screens at all when I get home, which is quite strict and hard.
The best thing that you can do, instead of saying no screens, is try and get yourself to a place where it's as low as possible screens in terms of the light. So putting your phone on that night shift mode, putting the glasses on, getting everything, just literally reducing everything down as low as you possibly can. Anyone else can think of anything that could disrupt their routine?
Yeah, sugar and caffeine.
Oh my god, yeah, they're well bad. Well, does anyone know like when you should stop drinking caffeine?
10 hours before bed.
Minimum 6 hours is the half-life of caffeine. So if you imagine, if you have a cup of coffee 6 hours before you go to bed, there's still half of it in you when you try and go to sleep, which can make a difference.
I find temperature quite good. I always have a cold room, and that helps. Whereas if I'm hot, I struggle to sleep.
What do you do when it's hot?
We're quite fortunate because the hall is like cool in the summer and warm in the winter, so it's actually pretty good. So I don't have that many challenges with it, apart from those days, like last year where couple of weeks where everyone was just cooking, weren't they?
Almost everyone thinks that melatonin is a sleeping pill, and it does help you get to sleep if you take artificial melatonin, and that's why people will pop one and sometimes wonder why they're still awake. What it does is melatonin sends a signal to your body that it's time to start the shutdown sequence. So you don't have much melatonin long after you fall asleep. Melatonin is produced by something called the pineal gland, and it basically starts producing melatonin before you go to sleep when it gets dark. That's why the mantra for this whole thing is darkness drives repair for this session. But where it breaks is light. Your body sees this light. It doesn't know it any different. If it gets that light into its eyes, essentially what you're saying is it's still daylight. Don't go to sleep. That's the message you're sending to your brain. What time did the lights actually come right down in your house?
Yeah, ours are all on lamps and like dimmer switches, but to be honest, that's not been intentional. That's just because
that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, and it's been really, we don't have LEDs and stuff, so it's actually been a bit of a touch in that scenario. Being off my phone, I changed the lock to 5 p.m. after you said. Without a doubt, that's a huge contributor. Like, I'm literally not on my phone now from 5 p.m. and there's so many reasons why it's helping, not just sleep.
The single most important mechanism in this entire session is managing the amount of light that you've got around you in the evening. So, the 3 rules. Rule number 1, 2 to 3 hours before you want to be asleep, dim everything. Not just your phone, the overhead lights, the kitchen, the TV. Drop the light intensity in your whole environment. This is what gives your night shift manager the signal to start. Rule number 2 is consistent bedtime. So same bedtime every night. If we have a late night one night, you can't just make it up with an early night the following night. And the best thing that I can, say for getting a consistent bedtime is simply just to have a consistent wake time. Wake up 16 hours before you want to go to sleep. Then we've got rule number 3, and I'm repeating this from session 1 intentionally, which is screens. So we've talked about screens. Even if you dim all the lights but your screens still have a lot of blue light going into your eyes, it will affect you. So get the glasses on, dim the lights on the screens, and you can still use them. I would recommend putting screens away totally for the final hour. Make sure you take down those 3 rules. If there's anything in there that you feel that you're not doing consistently, that would be the one to do. Most people associate growth hormone with bodybuilders, and that's the damage that the supplement industry has done. Growth hormone is not a performance drug. It's the most important repair system that your body has, and it runs automatically overnight, but only if you give it the right conditions. Every stress response you have causes a cortisol spike and an adrenaline hit, and then that leaves its own mark on you. So this is why people call cortisol a stress hormone, is because every time it spikes, it leaves like this indent on your system throughout the day. They repair your tissues, your energy systems, your brain cells. It repairs everything, and it peaks in the first 90 minutes of deep sleep. So your first lot of sleep, that's where growth hormone happens, and it doesn't happen really at the end of the night. Here's the rules for growth hormone. So insulin blocks growth hormone. They can't both run at the same time at the right level. So if you've eaten something close to bed, then your body is still processing that food while you're sleeping. Dan's already talked about this one, so he's got a good room environment. Temperature, your core body temperature has to drop to trigger deep sleep. So a cool, dark room is a condition, and if you want a temperature, 17 to 19 degrees is about the optimum. Block out blinds or an eye mask I found are really good. I use an eye mask because I just take away the possibility of being in a room that is too light. Rule number 3 is about what happens once you're actually asleep. So getting to bed on time is only half the job. If something disrupts or disturbs that first hour, like alcohol in your system, or what you mentioned, Chris, caffeine late that you had, your repair crew can't do its work properly. If melatonin is all about darkness, growth hormone is all about conditions. So like the environment that you give your body just before you go to sleep. So we've got the two managers, or the 2 staff members, 6 rules. Make sure that your night shift clocks in and runs the full repair cycle every single night. Melatonin, we need to give it the darkness it needs and give it a consistent schedule. Growth hormone, we need to stop feeding it insulin close to bedtime and then create the right room environment so that it will protect that first sleep cycle. If you do nothing else from today, just implement one thing from each list that you need to improve. So, quick question before we move on to our little pop quiz to see how much stuff has stuck. Does anyone want to share which 1 or 2 they think is going to be the biggest win for them?
Same sleep time every night. If I can get to that, that would be amazing.
What's protects the first 90-minute sleep cycle?
That is your caffeine and alcohol. So stimulants, essentially. So if you don't have stimulants still circulating around your system, it means that the first 90 minutes of your sleep is going to be as good as it possibly can be, and growth hormone will be at its highest amount, essentially. So here's your questions. What is melatonin's actual job? When does growth hormone peak? Question 3. What is the number 1 enemy of your night shift manager? Question 4. Why does eating before bed suppress recovery? And then number 5. What matters more, hours of sleep or timing of sleep? So I'm going to do something a little bit different. Question 1. What's melatonin's actual job? Anyone else? Well, I want to have a stab at the answer.
Triggers the sleep process, like tells it to get started.
Yeah, that's basically right. So it tells the body when to start the overnight shutdown sequence. Question number 2. Who wants to have a stab at that? Not Dan.
First 90 minutes?
Yes.
Yes, in the first 90 minutes. Well done. Number 3. What is number 1 enemy of your night shift manager? Light after dark. Excellent. Well done, Max. Mark, no pressure. You got to get this one right. Why does eating before bed?
I almost opened my mouth up on number 3 and I definitely got it wrong. So that's good.
Well, you got another go.
I was about to say insulin or sugar.
Yeah, correct. Insulin and growth hormone cannot run at the same time, and we all know the last one, which matters more, hours of sleep or timing of sleep, and it is timing every single time. And the next session we move on to the clean part of the pyramid and the marketing department. So marketing builds the capacity of your business just like your body. We've got dopamine, who is your campaign manager, and this is what drives motivation, reward and forward momentum, and it's the one that's being hijacked every single day by your phone, your notifications and some of your habits that you might have. And then serotonin are basically the hors designers. So this designs your baseline mood, your stability. They're the quiet engine behind the quality of your decision making. I guess if the field team is all about repair, the brand team is all about regulation. So that's a result. Thank you everyone for joining today. If you've got any questions on today's session, let me know.